Hey everybody, welcome back. It's yours truly, Mr. Derek T. Stevens. The Crow on the forums, the Crow Nest, very soon are going to be up for the daily drops. I almost, Nelson, said, hey, wait, let's stop and start recording again. I can't do this. This is a live class. My handler tonight's 50 Shades of Nelson. He's back in Tennessee. I'll be there actually Friday to hang out with the Buzz crew and do some photo shoots and some more recording, so I'm excited about that. Man, there's a lot going on for MMO development. I've been doing a lot of research on what makes a good MMO game. And I kind of want to discuss some of that. If you can, Nelson, just bring not everybody, I'm just, bring the key players in and then we'll be able to chat. I want to know what you guys think will make a good MMO game. Because I don't have my list all picked out. We're going to do that, talk about what will make a good MMO. I want to see what some people have created, and we're going to talk about weapons tonight. I had a pretty darn cool, slick way to create like 1,000 different weapons with about 15 different picks that I did. So I'm very excited to tell you all about that.
Tell us, Derek, tell us.
Well, I'd have to show you, and I don't want to ruin anything. It's a surprise, Steve.
Oh, all right.
But I'm pointing to my screen right now. That's that big white blank paper there.
I do.
It's the other layer. Here, I'll give you a sneak peek. Can you give me some sexy music, Mr. 50 Shades of Nelson, so I can do a peek? Bom, 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 bom.
I don't do
Here we go. Bom, bom, bom. There we go. So like, what is that?
Wow, wow.
Chicka, chicka, bow, bow. So, Steve, what makes a good MMO, dude? Because I'm thinking we're getting close to really starting to create some stuff. I hope Nick is here because I want to pick his brain for some stuff as well.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just on my tablet. I'm not sure if my mic is going to work right or anything.
Working okay now.
It's working okay.
I think the most important thing in any video game is hitting people in the face.
I'd have to say nard shot's always funny, but like if it's going to be pre-programmed, every 15th or 20th shot, make it random sort of thing. Coders can do that. Now, first thing on my list for a good MMO is it's got to be open. And that's one of our challenges, especially with you concept art freaks. And I say freaks because I love Steve dearly. But we have to have large expanses of land. The other thing is...
But not too large.
But not too large. We need to make it look expansive. The thing that really bothered me was playing World of Warcraft. Again, I played a Night Elf because if I'm going to look at anybody running around all the time, I'm going to look at the hot chick's bottom running around. Nothing wrong with playing a dude, but I like playing with the female. Then you manipulate people and get gold. That's neither here nor there. But in the homelands of the Night Elves, I forget what it's called, it's been that long, the world stopped. You just like kept running, boom. It's like a freaking imaginary wall. And, then later on, Warcraft really expanded, and it just takes forever to walk from one point to the other, and now you can fly. That's cool. You're right. We need to make it big. And then I played the game Rifts when it came out, and I love the art style. I love the character creation. I mean, you had a lot of control. But I was so used to Azeroth in World of Warcraft, kind of where everyone would congregate and role play, and then you have other little cities. And there weren't a lot of cities like that in Rifts in the beginning. I only played like a month or two, nothing big, and they may have expanded by now. But I think we need to find a way to balance out those big expansions of land that are interesting, and then have central locations for people to meet up, gear up, role play if they want to, or meet up and socialize. Because that's the other aspect. I'm a role player. I know I'm a geek, and there's not many of me out there, but I like to make it social. No, shut up now. Shut up. Anybody else here is a role player? Anybody?
Yes, I am.
I actually like paper and pencil role playing better than like forum post role playing, better than actual like live role playing. But I've done it.
Cool. That's how I started drawing. Actually, was with the hero game system. You played superheroes, and it was all dice based off of 3 dice. And I wasn't big into making the mechanics and all that, but they wanted me to draw their characters, and I did. And believe it or not, that's the first professional job I ever got was with hero games. And that was kind of cool. So I would give my GM, my dungeon master, game master, whatever you want to call him, every time I do a book, I get X amount of money in 3 books. So I just kept feeding them all the crap that I did, and it was like, woohoo! It didn't save my butt. I got killed several times for doing stupid stuff, but it was still pretty cool. So anyway, enough of my rambling on. Steve, what makes a good MMO?
A lot of it is fight mechanics and interaction mechanics.
Well, let me bring up a point then, as I sip my Diet Coke. Go on.
Yeah.
Okay, game mechanics. Again, going back to World of Warcraft, it was good, but you just punch numbers, da, 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 and it's a preset. I really like Guild Wars in the fact that you could actually use your shield to block, and you had to maneuver your guy around to fight. It wasn't mashing numbers. There's actually some skill involved in that. So 50 Shades of Nelson, are we going to do
You mean
something
one or
like that?
two?
Number 2. And I said number 2.
Oh boy.
I said I was a kid. Mr. Nelson, what are your thoughts on that? Or Nick, because you're going to be hopefully starting to head up our game development soon.
I don't have the concept document like I was gonna do done, but I did read through that whole like game mechanics thing, and I actually came up with an interesting idea. I play a lot of MOBAs like League of Legends where you only have 4 buttons, but you can do a lot of different things with the 4 buttons. So I was thinking you could make a 4-button game and then add like a couple buttons to modify them. So with those 4 buttons you'd be able to do like 36 to 48 different things. Real simply, just like right in front of you, so you wouldn't have to move your hand all over your keyboard, so that the physical user interface would be real easy to make interesting gameplay without having to have a whole lot of buttons on the screen.
That
I
sounds
like
so
this man. I love this man.
Yeah.
So you'd have like 1 through 4 be your 4 different attacks. You'd have 3 different buttons to change stances, so you'd have to get like a different style of attack a little bit. Then you have like a shift, which would make it like a defensive like version of the thing, and space which would be like a jumping movement kind of attack.
I like
I
the
like
idea of like an active combat system. I'll have to read through the mechanics thread. I regrettably haven't had a chance to do so yet. But I like the idea of sort of a classless skill-based system where you might have a couple of presets, but where you go from there is entirely up to the player. So if they want to make somebody that's hybrid ranged and melee combatant, you have the
What?
opportunity to do so over time.
That's insane talk. You can't have a wizard using a sword.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing, where instead of
Okay.
like picking a class, you pick spells.
I got one word for you, Derek. Gandalf.
I know, right? That blew my entire freaking analogy. You know, back in D&D paper games, you know, it's all cloth. You can have a freaking dagger. That's it. God forbid you run out of like spells and your dagger gets taken from you, and there's a sword in front of you.
That's
I
some
don't care.
shenanigans. You just had a penalty for armor.
I don't care who you are. My 3-year-old, not 3, or my 4-year-old now could pick up my tomahawk, and I don't leave it laying around. And yes, I have a tomahawk. Who doesn't? She could pick it up and hurt me. She's not skilled at it. Crap happens. I mean, you know, and I kind of want to bring that to gameplay. However, though, I really believe roles and classes are kind of important. True story. You guys ever see Planet of the Apes? The old version.
Yeah.
Ronnie McDowell. I was listening to an interview with Ronnie McDowell, who played Caesar, the chimpanzee, and he said what happened during lunch breaks, and they didn't have assigned seats. It was just like tables out there, but all the apes, the gorillas would sit together, all the chimpanzees would sit together, and then all the orangutans would sit together. People like to be in classes and in that box, but it's also human nature to fight that you don't want to be part of the crowd. So we need to find a way to accommodate how we can belong, but like you said, make it our own.
Yeah.
To me, fighting is the fighting mechanics is probably one of the biggest deals, because I've tried like betas, different and different trial periods for game MMOs, but I never got very far in any of them. But I was always found the fighting really boring. At least in the beginning. I hear that it gets better, but it's still the same kind of things that you're saying, where you're just clicking buttons. It's like every few seconds you have to click the same buttons again and again, and that didn't seem to be much strategy for me. But I noticed I've had a little more fun playing Guild Wars 2. I haven't gotten very far on it, but when I was playing that, I was having more fun.
I did like Guild Wars 2 of the aspect I played a rogue, and whatever weapon you choose to use the most, that of course that's what you advance in. And I think that makes total sense.
Well, the reason most MMOs do that is because they have a really bad system of teaching you how to play the class. They just give you one ability at the time and make you use it till you know exactly what it does, and then give you your next ability. And yeah, I just think that's a bad way of going about doing it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a mistake because it turns people like me off. I'm just like, it may get better, but I only have so much time. If I'm not having fun, I'm not gonna put all that time into
It
it.
does. It becomes a job. My wife's like, why are you doing this if it makes you unhappy? I'm like, because I've got to level. The thing that really burns my biscuits is, say you're like at point A you've killed like 50 trolls to get to point A, and then the quest giver says, thank God you're here. Trolls have been killing the village. I need you to go back out and kill 20 more trolls. Come back and see me when you're done. Or what's even worse is, you know what? There's 20 trolls, and it's the other side of the world, so you have to travel all that way to kill 20 trolls, travel all the way back to turn in your quest.
Did anyone play like Star Wars: The Old Republic? I think they did a pretty good job, at least with the class storyline missions, of not doing that.
Yeah, they did.
I loved The Old Republic. Not such a big fan of the online version game right now because there's no freaking chat bubbles. I can't communicate with people. I get lost in the like mass window chat where you're like having people talk about politics, religion, and like, no, I need to know where this is going. I need to team up with somebody, or God forbid, if you really wanted to role play, you're in the cantina and you have somebody talking about politics and someone's talking to you, but they're not really in your zone. It really ruined the immersion for me. And I'm a geek. Thank you.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Thank you.
I was actually thinking one thing I'd like to see, like, what bothers me about gunplay, particularly in role-playing games, is there's very few that implement it in a manner that makes it seem as visceral as it is. You shouldn't have to take 15 shots to kill someone. But everybody gets it in their head that the only way to make an enemy challenging is to give him more hit points. And I kind of like the idea that you go through your mission, you accomplish your objective, and that's where you get your experience if you're going to go with an experience-based system. But otherwise, all the guys that stand between you and your objective, they don't really matter. But there's a role-playing system that I used to run with called Millennium's End, and essentially the way they work that is every part of the body had essentially 25 hit points. It could never have more than that, and if any part of your body sustained those 25 hit points worth of damage, that's it, you were done.
You know, it would be really cool, and I don't know how complicated that would be, but to have, okay, look at your computer screen, top right, a small bracket, and a very generic head, torso, right arm, left leg, right leg sort of thing, and to correlate that with you in a fight. And as it starts like color coding, it starts off green and then yellow to orange to red, and then either your penalties to move or you can't use a certain weapon. I know in Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, that's one of the aspects I love. One shot, one kill most of the time, or if you were hit and you lived, your guy slowed down because he was wounded. But I don't know how that would translate to an MMO, and I don't know if that would make a lot of people mad.
One of the posts I read in it about MMOs is it has to do with the way like data is transferred. I'm not really good with the computer side of it, but apparently it has to do with the number of packets you have to send to do like an FPS kind of thing versus casting a spell. That's why most MMOs have you like cast a spell and like it goes on cooldown, and so if you have like 50 people in the same space doing that, it won't bog the system down, whereas an FPS it would start to lag kind of thing. That's why you can't do the ray tracing stuff, I guess.
Well, I think we're getting to the point now where data transfers fast enough that it's becoming less of an obstacle now compared to what it was like when World of Warcraft came out.
It's becoming less of an obstacle, but you also have to realize that you have to take into account cheating, and most FPS servers have a large amount of overhead to simulate the game world while the game is going on, and there's a lot of code. I mean, you're talking about, we have a really good bandwidth these days, but it's latency that'll kill you. No matter what you can do, you can't change the speed of light. You're always going to have a latency. And a latency of, 100 milliseconds could mean the difference between shooting somebody and not shooting somebody.
That's true.
So the servers have to simulate the entire world, which becomes very, very complicated and not very realistic to do at a massive scale.
Well, if we did away with ray tracing, I'm not entirely sure how I'd do this in code, but I'll fiddle around with it and see what I can figure out. I think there might be a way to get something similar to the sort of bullet spread idea that you get with FPSs, but do it in a way that it's all just numbers.
I know EVE Online kind of does that, but not really. Like, you're firing at a target, but it has, like, hit or miss, and it animates it accordingly.
Well, I would like to, again, I guess use a skill base. Like, you really have to see your target, click on the target to hit it instead of automatic attacks. Is that essentially what we're talking about? An auto attack versus player, real-time attack?
Well, my combat system that I was coming up with would have been more like, say, a fighting game where you'd have to, like, set up a combo or do, like, a certain, like, 3 or 4 different moves to kill somebody. And in the time, like, it would take a little bit longer to do, but it'd still blow them up in a few seconds kind of thing. So it wouldn't be like you have to shoot them 100 million times. You'd have to, like, get your combo off on them to kill them. And they could, like, interrupt you or do something like that to stop you.
See, the bad thing about that is, darn it, I should have killed you quicker. You're wasting my time. The good thing about it is, wow, thank God he didn't kill me right away, sort of thing. So it really depends what side of the coin you're on, you know what I'm saying?
Well, if you're going against, like, bots or something, it would be, like, combos would just go off, like, fast. It would be teaching you how to use them, and then player versus player kind of stuff. That's where you'd start seeing the I should have killed you faster kind of thing.
And I really believe because of Ray, we got some really good role players or game people here. Whenever we start out with our zones, I would like to see us try to think outside the box. We've all been there where hey, here's your first weapon, going back to Warcraft. We have to do a calling. We have to kill all these animals. So you literally have to go out and hunt down all these animals and come back and give so many skins. And you have to go, there's more animals over here. I don't know how to get around that. Any ideas?
Story-based objectives. Like that,
Give
that'd
that
be how
man a
you
gold
do.
star.
I'm inclined to agree. I much prefer the story-based gameplay these days over go out and kill 15 of these.
So, like, a lot of games I've played recently have done this where instead of getting experience for killing a monster, you get experience for killing the mission. So you can't just go out and, like, grind monsters to get stuff. You have to go do the missions. And the missions will generally give you better stuff than you get grinding the monsters anyway. So it would be... And then you'd have, like, little mini-games to go, like, farm materials for crafting or something like that instead of just going to hitting the rock with your pickaxe kind of thing.
Oh, man, that's just mind-numbing. Yeah, I've done that. Swimming, like, from oceans to oceans, and, oh, there's minerals down here. And all you do for, like, hours and days is dink, 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 dink. Okay, I'm getting some gold. That blows. I like the story-based idea. So that brings me to my next question. I really believe roles and classes is going to play an essential part because of story. You know, it's going to be story driven. So what do you guys think about that? If you don't want to have classes and you want to be able to have, you know, anyone can use any weapon, do we set it up like, okay, you're going to be a rogue, background story, you're a street urchin, and you were forced to steal as a kid, yada, 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 and maybe do the cutscene or the first part when you're a kid learning to pickpocket, do a couple missions as a kid, and then that kind of sets your path. Here's a tree, a skill tree. You're going to be an assassin. You're going to be a cut purse.
You're talking about story. I mean, player story right now. There's also just NPC story character. You know.
Or you could do it like Mass Effect, where you'd write the story around the just who your character is rather than what your character does. So it'd be like, your goal is to go save the universe. You don't have to be a rogue to go save the universe. You can be anyone to do that, basically.
True, and that's the other last aspect is end game. We have to have an end game in mind as well.
I don't think you want to tell the players like who they are in an MMO. I think players pretty much want to determine, kind of figure that out for themselves and decide.
Yeah, you want the story to be driven by conflict rather than the player themselves, kind of thing.
Because okay, I don't know if anyone's ran games. I love running games, but because I run games, that means I'm in control of it, and I make a good story based on what I'm in control of. I honestly believe I like the Mass Effect idea. You have a little questionnaire. Where were you born? Are you a space? Did you grow up on a space station? Did you grow up on Earth? Were you this and that? And by picking key questions, it can kind of help form your player's background story. From there, we could have a jumping off point, because they choose that, but then they can make it their own after we get into a certain point.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the harder things to do for this, is to write a branching story where we like set up the options at the start, and then we can like make different dialogue options based on what a player does combined with their background kind of thing. I think it's going to take a while to do, but I think that's going to be one of the better options in terms of story.
Yeah.
Well, and then it's going to take a while to do is the next question we run into: what sort of system can we build that we can finish?
Right.
And that weighs heavily on my mind.
Well, Derek, you've played Guild Wars 2. In that one, you have one storyline that kind of fits your character, that you get some quests on every however many levels or
Right.
whatnot. You can get a little further in that, but you also have all those. I mean,
Side
that's kind of a yeah, but your main quest is kind of a side. I mean, your personal story quest is kind of a side quest, and then everything, the main stuff, is what's going on in the world with other people and you interacting with it. But the one that's personal to you is there, and I think that's a good way. I mean, you wouldn't want it just all personal to you or mainly personal to you, because I mean you're partnering up with other people a lot, and so they don't want to just always partner up on an instance that's geared to your character. I mean, that's fun to do some to help them with that, but I think primarily people like to get together and go on a quest together and feel like it's their quest a little bit.
Well, when I ran games, and this would be totally different because we're talking about massive online people. When I had a game of like 5 people, I gave each one of them a personal story that we could use, and each personal story of their 5 would intersect with somebody else. It's one of the persons in the game, and then I'd have an overall objective for everyone to contribute to, sort of thing. And I think we might be able to get away with that, where you as a player have your own personal story. Now, it's an illusion of personal story. It could be like 4 stories to really pick from, but it's still your personal story. And then, like you said, you have vested interest because your personal story may line up with Steve's personal story. He has his own reasons and own motivations to do what he's doing, but we have an overlapping system here that we give buy-in from multiple people. Then, like you said, we have world events and world stuff that's going on that everyone can contribute to.
I kind of like that. It'd be a lot of writing, but I mean, it's from that perspective, it's still doable.
Some people seem to not like instances so much, but I think they're a wonderful tool. I don't think that you should do everything in instances, but I think it gives you the power to have a more dynamic, more interesting story, because you can interact with that story in an instance that doesn't affect everybody else. You can change something, so you can have story branches, like, oh, I decided to help this person instead of that person, or I decided to betray this person, or whatever, and then it branches off a little something else. But that's just affecting you in your own little personal.
And let me tell you guys what story instances are, because I mean, a lot of us are talking this vernacular that is like everybody else knows what it is. And I know Mr. Ray, if he's here, he's not a gamer, he's a writer, so he may not know what instances are. Somebody who might just be fresh to this, listening to the recording, like, what the crap are they talking about? An instance is like, you go to this cave that's the Dead Mines in World of Warcraft, and you have this summoning stone. You go there and you queue up basically for a quest. And they use the Trinity. You have a tank, you have a healer, and you have DPS. DPS is damage per second. So you load up together, and the instance, you have, I think, 5 people. That's all that can go in. So you have to learn to work as a team. And what happens in that instance, I guess it just goes to that instance. It doesn't affect anybody else around the world.
Right. It's like your own copy of the world where unique things are happening to you, and so you're not watching, you're not sitting there waiting while a group kills the dragon and then waiting for the dragon to spawn and the next group in line to kill the dragon, and it's your turn to
Yeah.
kill the dragon, or clearing people clearing out spots of a dungeon you're walking through, like, oh, this probably was a interesting area at some point, maybe when they spawn it'll be again, but now I have to walk on.
You know, or
But
they spawn all around you and then...
right, and spawn on you, which is terrible. But so when,
Or
when
loot
it's actually
ninjas.
unique
I
to
hate
you,
loot ninjas.
you can do a whole lot more stuff, and it feels like you're the only ones there being the heroes, not like everybody in the world is a hero, and most of them are better than you.
Yeah. I do think, like, we do have kind of a unique opportunity here in the sense that we don't have to stick with convention, and I honestly, like, we'd have to figure out what to do differently, but I think we could probably do away with the tank healer DPS thing. Frankly, it's overused.
What would you recommend then? Because I've tried to think of that. But
I had an idea where you'd give everybody those stances I was talking about. You'd give them the ability to like become a little bit tanky, a little bit of a healer at least, and so you just switch roles based off of who was getting targeted by what and what you had to be doing. So instead of being like, I have to do this as it's my role, you'd have to be able to like switch roles on the fly and figure out how to do that.
I hate that idea. I like something close to that. I like the idea of being able to do that before a battle, or I mean at some point to be able to decide what role you're going to do. But in battle, it feels pretty cheap, because you go, okay, I'm going to go for the healer, and then it turns into the tank, and you just, I mean, it's I think that kind of thing frustrates more people than it.
well, that's where pre-planning comes involved.
Yeah,
And
I mean, because if you can't find, say, a healer, it's frustrating, because you go, oh, we could be doing a lot better if we could find a healer. If someone could be a healer, or if you need a tank.
well, we can't start the instance until we find a healer.
Right.
That's happened certain times.
So like, yeah, if you do all that before, then you can do that. But if you're doing that actually in game, especially with PvP, that's just I mean, it doesn't. You can't really do any strategy, because as soon as you try something, you go, okay, I'm gonna do a debuff on this guy, like I'm gonna freeze the healer, slow them down so I can kill them. Oh no, now they're a tank, and it's just like, oh no, I was turned my back on the tank. Now he's the DPS guy, and he killed me. It's like that.
I wasn't thinking like you'd become like a full-on tank. I'm thinking you'd be able to like have some tankier like abilities in case something went wrong. So if you ever like played like a feral druid in World of Warcraft, you could shift into cat form or something like that. So it'd be more like you wouldn't be as optimized if you took that path.
Maybe if you like were just able to like, there was a big cooldown, so maybe you could do it once during a battle. You could change. I'd probably be okay with that. But doing it just on the fly, back and forth during a battle, I don't like.
This is Ray. Could I ask a question? Because I honestly don't play games and I don't know how this might work. But in stories, sometimes the king has Excalibur, and Mordred kills the king, but Lancelot grabs Excalibur. He's not as good as Arthur was with Excalibur, but because he has Excalibur, he's now better than he used to be. So he becomes sort of Arthur-like. I mean, you could have Merlin's wand is best used in the hands of someone who's trained up as Merlin, but other people of lesser skill could use the wand, just not as effectively. So if Merlin gets killed, one of the other players in this group of 5 or 6 has some skill with magic, and if he gets hold of the wand, he can use it, and just not as much as the original magician. I mean, does anybody ever tried something like that, or is that insane?
Generally, that's itemization, where you'd bring the items with you before you went into like a dungeon, and then you'd switch up your items based off of like what you were going to go fight, kind of thing. So like the feral druid's the one that could change form between cat and bear was tanky and cat was damage. You pick your items before you went into combat based on what you wanted to do, and you could switch roles, but you'd end up doing.
If somebody got killed, could another player grab one of their weapons?
Not really.
Most
Because-
MMOs make it so you can't switch items in combat.
Yeah,
The-
which is silly because you could.
The
Yeah,
problem,
that's true. Well,
the
at least your
problem with
weapon.
The problem with, at least in traditional MMOs, is people have been playing for hours and hours and days to uh, build up their gear and their stats and stuff. But it takes a long time to get really good gear, so you wouldn't want to just someone be able to steal your sword or something like that. So it's kind of that's kind of a big step. It's got to be hard to get those weapons in a game that's set up that way, because that's your reward for doing that. And yes, like having a good sword will do more damage, but you still have to have the skill. Your character has to have the stats to
To utilize it, I know, but what I was thinking about was
it's a combination.
context of where you guys started out. And that was you had this instance where a group of 5 or 6 players together go in and they're going to play that instance till its conclusion. Could you have it set up so that if one of those guys had a great sword and the ogre killed him, could one of the other players pick up that sword and use it until that instance was over?
You could definitely do that. Whether that works in that depends on how you set everything.
I would be
else
afraid
up,
that someone would like, I really want to see what that sword does. Let this guy die so I can pick it up. And then everyone's screwed.
Yeah,
I think it'd probably have to, if we were going to do that, it would be something where it's only among team members and it's only borrowing. It's not actually
Right.
transferring your inventory.
Right. Real quick, guys, you can tell I've been doodling as we've been talking, because I really want to kind of talk about weapons. I have a couple ideas that I want to share with you from an art background. This is basically using spot blacks, just shapes, to come up with cool ideas and I guess, shapes. But I threw some stuff together because I'm not for sure how alien-esque or high-tech we want the humans to have their weapons. Any thoughts on this?
Well, on the human side, I mean, they're going to be very advanced. They're going to be energy weapons and stuff, but we are going for a kind of steampunkish look.
So the thing I really liked about World of Warcraft when I played an archer, and it sucked and bit me in the butt sometimes, this is before the latest version, but you had to go buy arrows. And if you ran out of arrows in combat, like you're in an instance, if nobody had arrows, you were screwed. It was just kind of a responsibility. I really got to make sure I have this. And the higher levels you get, the more arrows do damage. And even like most of these they're all clipped magazine-fed weapons through here. But we can change it up with energy. I'd like to see. This is just me on how you guys feel about it, but if humans are going to expend energy, how are they going to, recharge their weapons if they don't have some sort of magazines with them? Is it going to be?
It doesn't mean they can't have magazines. You could have some sort of ammunition that feeds a Tesla coil or something. It would be very steampunk.
I think they should have both kinds. I think they should have bullet weapons, and I think it should be more expensive to have the more futuristic energy type things. And I think that there might be, I don't know if this would enter into gameplay, but for story, that there would be more maintenance on that, so it would be more expensive. So someone who doesn't have as much money would have more of a traditional gun that doesn't take as much maintenance, that you don't have to take it in to get repaired. And
or you can make it part of gameplay that it's a good idea to have a traditional bullet because some of the shielding will stop energy weapons and a
yeah, that too.
bullet will pass right through it.
You know, that's a brilliant idea. Okay, going back to my game stuff, when I was doing stuff for Hero Games, whenever you made a character, you had energy defense and physical defense. And you could literally spend points in physical defense. So, you know, you could take punches all day long, but somebody like Cyclops with Zot, it doesn't do anything against your physical stuff. It does everything against your energy defense. I think it might be a really cool way to give, like you said, everybody the advantage of being a tank or not a tank. Making, I guess, balance. You could buy armor that specifically, you know, would go against energy defense or physical defense, because we gave the option of real-life projectile bullets or the Alethians with their claws, headbutts, and stabs and arrows versus their laser thing. I think that'd be a really cool dynamic. Thoughts?
Since we're probably going to have some strong melee characters or classes or whatever abilities. So there would be some Alethians doing using melee weapons. I think we should have something with the humans being able to do some melee weapons. I don't know if they're kind of I don't know if we want to go for kind of an energy sword or something with
You could go with the old Star Wars Vibroblade one, where it just has a blade that vibrates really fast.
That's in what?
The old Star Wars things, the Vibroblades, where it'd have like a blade that would vibrate, so it'd be like using like a chainsaw, kind of.
Okay, guys, sorry, I had to go off comms for a bit. I'm actually at work at the time, so I missed some of what was said. I personally like the idea of having both bullet and energy weapons available. Just mechanically find some difference between them, but I don't think bullets are ever going to go away entirely. They're always going to have a use.
You could even use like railguns instead of bullets too.
Yeah, when you say bullets, you could mean railguns or...
Yeah. Like, I think one of the biggest problems with lasers is as soon as there's a smoke screen, it's useless. Oh, sorry guys, one sec.
Like, okay, the Alethians have magic and stuff, so maybe they have, some classes have kind of magic shielding, which makes the guns do less damage to them. So maybe, and it might be even a skill or something. So maybe a weapon or a class or something that can get in there and do melee damage.
Real quick, this area I drew right here. I'm sorry, go ahead, Wolf. I thought you cut out. My bad.
Oh, I guess I did cut out. Did you get any of that?
Bits and pieces.
Okay. I was saying that maybe the Alethians had some kind of, maybe it's a skill or something, but magic ability, at least some of them, to kind of shield them, and I don't think it would be 100%, but soften the blow of projectiles. But if you got in there, like that would give the humans a reason to have melee weapons as well. So they would have to get in there to do more damage. So maybe maybe humans would have secondary melee weapons that they...
How about the Alethians, because they have their soul stones? If the humans are using energy-based weapons, for whatever reason, they're in a zone where the Alethians can control the environment that sucks out the energy, and they're forced to either A, use projectiles or go hand-to-hand. Speaking of hand-to-hand, this is actually a gauntlet through here. There could be a human part of the armor, and then like some sort of, like you said, energy blade that comes out. Because I know as a gamer, I want to go toe-to-toe with people. Like Steve said, hit them in the face.
Yeah.
Right, because it just doesn't work if all the humans are like running back and ranging from, you know, however far away, and you know, a large part of the Alethians are trying to run in there and, you know, just melee. You know, there should be melee on both sides. Even you can have Eleuthians being more melee heavy than the humans, but it shouldn't just be completely without.
Range screwed.
I like the... Oh, go ahead.
You could even make like special forces for the humans, like a special forces style class where they specialize in hand-to-hand combat just because they're used to going in, like a rogue kind of thing where they're used to going in quietly and killing people. You can make up a reason for everything.
Oh yeah, that too, kind of like assassin backstab thing.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea that like the Eleuthians and then if a branch of them are also going to have their own soul stones and stuff like that, that the shield, as far as energy shields, would be limited to that class, and it would be like an actively controlled ability on part of the player, not like Halo's shield where it just absorbs damage, but something that only absorbs from a certain direction and only a certain amount. And then like humans, we've been busy working with armor and all that kind of stuff forever. So I was thinking that would basically be our forte, and then it acts as just a form of damage reduction when you're in combat with somebody.
But for gameplay, we have to think about this for balance. My idea for the Eleuthians, because I want them strong, I want them fast, but you're right, I can't outrun a bullet. They can't outrun a bullet, a projectile, or a laser. We need to find a way in story that makes sense where they can almost fold time and space like teleportation. Like in a blink, they can cover a lot of ground. The humans may have a couple shots, but boom, ground's lost. They're going to have to switch to melee weapons.
Well, they can also be protected with force fields.
True.
That was the Eleuthian version of armor.
Yeah, it's just since they all use those crystals and they're very good at using them, that would basically be their strength, is using it to create a shield or enhance their weapons, that sort of thing.
And you could have different levels of capability, so that somebody who's a foot soldier would have okay crystals, but not the best, whereas maybe the general is close to invulnerable when his crystals are working. But I just put something in the BuzzNet. They are using living creatures to generate force fields, to generate laser beams, and so on. Those living creatures can tire. They can run out of steam. They can get exhausted. They can even die. So that's the equivalent of running out of bullets.
Yeah, I was thinking as far as ammunition, like as far as weapons and all that kind of stuff, there should be an ammunition mechanic there. And then like a stamina sort of thing for the crystals.
Exactly, yeah.
And then that way you don't have everybody just mindlessly throwing stuff downrange on a continual basis.
No, I like that idea. I mean, I really do, because again, it makes you pre-plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if one guy's crystals are suddenly exhausted, he may have to go somewhere and hide until they get rested. It's a little bit like health. You know, it take a little time for that crystal to regenerate its ability to hurl a bolt of metal at somebody, or a laser beam, or protect you, or whatever it was that crystal's talent was.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking one of the things you could do for, like on the human end of things, if you're using energy weapons and whatnot, you could have something in your inventory, if you remember to take it with you, that would slowly recharge any spent magazines that you have, and then that way you've got some form of ammo replenishment in the field, but until you get to a city, then that's where you'd basically have the opportunity to recharge and reload everything.
Mm-hmm.
This is some good ideas. Tell you what, we're almost at the top of the hour. Let's go ahead and call it here for a 5 to 7 minute potty break and get our drinks. When we come back, I want to show you, again, as an art side, the weapons I've already created, how you can manipulate and change things around, and then I'll show you my other side, some of the pre-made things that I did and how easy that's going to be. Kind of give us a feel of what we may or may not want to use for human I guess, weapons. And we'll continue this discussion. I really like it because we've not had a lot of game development discussions on this. It's all been story-based, which is good, but it's nice to turn the coin a little bit and get different sorts of view. Can I have a hell yeah? Hoorah!
Heck yeah.
Hoorah.
No.
Hoorah. All right, Mr. 50 Shades of Nelson, take us. Stop that. Have that. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Yours truly, Mr. Derek T. Stevens. At my side is 50 Shades of Nelson. I looked through my cabinets for something to eat, and I got some chicken broth in a cube to eat. That was yummy to my tummy. I'm not sure what 50 Shades did, but we are back. I've been doing a lot of discussion about some game mechanics, quasi stuff with story-driven related things for quests and how we want to do things. Some great discussions, so make sure you listen to it all. And I encourage everybody, if you have any questions, comments, or ideas, to go to the forums, visit them as much as possible, make them your
You're
second or third home.
Have a good day.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, I just heard someone say have a good day. I'm like, hey, dude, we're on the air.
Sorry.
It's all good, man. It's all good. So let me show you a few quick tricks on how to make weapons even cooler. I'm not sure these are cool weapons, but they're like down and dirty, quick and easy weapons. Literally by using your selector tool, hitting Control T, and then you can make all sorts of funky shapes. Look, it's kind of like a gun now, more than a rifle. I've done all sorts of stuff to make it elongated and longer and stuff like that. Or you can just click on this area right here, shrink this part down, reposition it, bring it out longer. I mean, it's nice, quick, and easy to get the idea and the feel of what you want to do for weapons. But what I told you I was going to show you, and I agree, and I shall, is this little blue area right here is my weapons table. If I was a weaponsmith. And I didn't name anything on here, which I really should have. You should really name your what's going on there.
Especially when you have a gazillion of them.
Yeah, right. If I take, be able to keep track of that, smart aleck. Hey, cancel this base 01. How's that, Steve? Base 01. So now I make this appear. There we go. We have the part of our weapon we may or may not want. I'm going to come down here and select this one here as my magazine. Mag. They're not called clips, by the way. They're called magazines. If you call them a clip, I'll be very upset. So let's take this area right here. If I selected the right one. Thank you very much, Steve, for making fun of me here.
You're welcome. I'm helping.
You're helping a lot. I really appreciate that. That's better there. Let's go ahead and select the magazine over here. Control T so I can resize it. Hit enter. Let's go ahead and select this baby over here. Build this on top, like such. Really? Yeah, I should have named all this stuff. I don't want that one. You guys can kind of tell what I'm doing, right? I'm just picking some pieces together here and moving stuff around and creating new looks for new weapons. And you can literally take all this, layer it down, then use it for your base of a weapon, and then retrace it and reprint or repaint it by making, I think there's 8 to 9 different layers here. What should have been named? I'm sorry, should have been named. It's a great tool to make really cool weapons because, again, like the first thing I showed you, you can use your select tool, Control T, to elongate, to squish, to form up high or low, and it just really make things, like I said, nice and personal. So what do you guys think? Isn't that a brilliant idea?
Brilliant! Yeah, I do like it.
I like modular stuff.
All I did was silhouettes, now I feel lame.
It's all right.
That is an awesome little workflow, actually. I think I'm going to have to adopt that.
It really helps if you name stuff. Let me tell you what. Let's make one more gun and let's see what other people have come up with. I'm glad I made Steve feel lame.
They're cool silhouettes, though.
I'm sure they are, for me to poop on.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, is that Grey Poupon?
Wee! But of course, what other kind is there? You know, for the longest time, I tried to stop eating my own poop, so I switched to I cannot believe it's not poop. And it tastes very good. It's almost like my own poop. Angie's gonna kill me, isn't she?
Possibly.
Uh-huh. Where's my base? I named base, hey.
Second from
Let's
the
go.
top.
Thank you. Anyway, you get the idea. I mean, you can build all sorts of cool things. I like the idea of the term modular. I can put my magazine in there, and I can put a pistol grip in there, but it's something that's nice and quick, and you already have things built. It's almost like the 4-button system, because you have 4 buttons. It's actually 36 different combinations you can make. So I have X amount of combinations here. This is a nice, cool workflow.
Well, and if you
So-
adopt the same sort of thing when you're creating the models, you could actually set up a modular system to build the weapons. So somebody could basically make a pistol or a rifle or what have you that looks exactly the way they want it to look.
Ooh, I like that. Nelson, can we do that, please?
What?
Wow, I'm not paying attention. I'm looking at Pony. I'm clapping. Please repeat for Mr. 50 Shades of Nelson.
Yeah, I was thinking if we adopt a similar method as this modular drawing, but we do the same thing with 3D models, then effectively it would let people build piece by piece whatever rifle or pistol, whatever visual they wanted to go along with their weapon.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, basically all you're doing there is switching out models and enabling and disabling mesh renders. So I think mechanically it'd be very easy to set up. And then it's just the rest of the burden at that point is on the art team building the models.
In 3D modeling, it's called kit bashing.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, exactly. And I will happily volunteer for that.
All right, sucker. Even like this, okay, Control T. I have no idea why it's so bloody big. Really? My computer's lagging really, really bad at the moment. Sorry, guys. Please bear with me. It's lagging really, really bad. Hey, Steve, let's see what you got.
Welcome.
Yeah, you super enlarged your picture, dude. But yeah, you can take my screen.
Hold on, let's try this one more time. Wait. So I invert this to go down like this. I like it. I like it a lot. Ta-da!
It'd be a little hard to see through that scope.
Yeah, it needs to kind of be forward a little bit more. But we're not going for functionality. We're going for cool factor here. No, actually,
This is
you're
true.
right. No, we need to do functionality. Because Steve won't let me get away with that because I busted his balls so much. Like, well, what does it do? Well, I don't know. Well, it doesn't make sense. So when I try to do it, he's like, you can't do that, Derek. So, good point. Steve,
You
what do you
taught
got
us
for
well.
us?
By the way, Derek, when you do all your pieces on separate layers like that, you don't have to go into like Control P or anything to move them around. Just punch up that layer and use your move tool
Roger that.
because it's all transparent. That'll make life easier.
Very true. Thank you.
And,
Yeah, nice. And if you want to grab my screen, you can. I've got a few silhouettes I can show off.
Mr. Ray, what you going to say?
well, and also I have some stuff from Richard Gamble. He can't share screen because he's at work, but he can comment and you can use my screen when you get to it.
Okay. Nice.
I tried to use some kind of 70s sci-fi lines and then still stick with mostly a kind of steampunkish older style, like the really long long sight on it. couple of them with melee attached, very futuristic one that wraps around the arm and fires. Things like that.
Nice.
Cool.
Lightweight metal cutouts in them.
I like it. I like it a lot.
For a plug for 3D Buzz, guys, coming soon to a VTM near you, CryEngine introduction.
Ooh.
How sweet is that? It's a great photo you took. I'm teasing. I'm teasing. It looks like a photo, man. Really, really good work. Really good, really good work. I'm looking forward to learning their CryEngine. We got lots of stuff coming up with 3D Buzz. More daily drops than you can shake a stick at, and other stuff.
I know what you could call the section of that too. Cry some more.
Is that the engine for Crisis?
Yeah,
Okay.
which is no longer just for non-commercial use. They've got a license very much like UDK now.
Yeah.
Cool.
And apparently, Steve and Steve's more new to it than I am, but I've always just been an art monkey, okay? I draw 2D stuff. I can do 3D, but I don't really teach classes on it. Steve came on board, and he's doing a lot behind the scenes stuff. And one of the things that we really found out was there's a lot of promises made with good intentions. We've not gotten to do everything we wanted to do or requested. And CryEngine was one of them that had a big calling. And Steve tackled it. I mean, he ran and tackled it like, O.J. Simpson can run and cut. I mean, very aggressively. So, yeah, we got lots of stuff coming up. I'm very proud of Steve for him to do this.
Yep, we will have lots of stuff, and it will be in VTM form. So you don't have to make a live class if you're in Serbia.
I cry some more. I like that. You gonna call it Cry Some More?
No. No, I haven't.
I think that'd be great.
But anyway, yeah, those are the silhouettes that I did. Who else?
Ray, I think I had something.
I have Richard's stuff I can show you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can comment.
I mean, weapons are pretty straightforward. I mean, they look like the weapons of today, a little more futuristic.
I also have the last page, or the page
That's right.
3 colored. Could show.
I like that sort of scope revolver you have there too. It looks like a pretty sweet setup.
I will admit to being heavily influenced by Borderlands because I play that a lot. And they have a lot of really bizarre weapons.
They do, but it's still fun to play.
Oh yeah, it's cool. I love them.
The bottom one reminds me of an AR stock.
That's a shotgun.
Well, this is the stock, you freak.
But yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where the stock for the pistol came from too, those foldable stocks.
They're nice.
So are we going to take a race screen there, Melly?
Just
Maybe.
as soon. Okay, you guys see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Richard, you're on.
Okay, sorry, I just had to take care of a radio call there.
Are you just a dispatcher?
No, I'm team leader for a security group, looks after a building at night.
That's kind of scary. Guys, go do your thing. I'm in class right now. We do not endorse that, but I think it's freaking awesome that you're here.
No, just put out the call and then get back to it. So
we have a building burning down. You guys go do that, and I have to be on 3D Buzz.
no, that'd be the part where I hang up.
Okay. You have your priorities. Okay, that's good to know.
So yeah, I was setting this up as just no detail yet, just the very basic outline. Sorry, one sec.
It's a laser pistol. You can change a mag if you want.
It is kind of phaserish. I like it.
The
It
mag
does
is
remind
on.
me very much of Star Trek.
Mag is off. Yeah, it's kind of phaser-ish E, but more gun shape.
Set to stun. Screw that, I'm killing him. And don't put me in a red shirt. I want a last name.
Like I tell everybody, it's not the red shirt, it's the security insignia.
True, because Scotty.
Right.
True that. I love Scotty. He was awesome.
Oh, I like that. I like the jump ship.
Yeah, the concept Richard has for the jump ship is they do use instantaneous jumps using quantum approach, but they are also capable of maneuvering in an atmosphere, which is why it has wings. So in other words, you don't want to do a jump from the surface to the surface, because if you're off by a foot, you're buried in the ground. So you jump far above the terrain and then maneuver down to land.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay,
It's all good.
We were just showing your stuff. We didn't need you.
Okay.
That's mean.
Just telling them about your jump ship and why it not only can do quantum jumps, but also can maneuver in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, where I've got the line breaks on the engines, just on the wings there. The first one is basically a marker for where the engine will separate, move out, and pivot downward. And then the second marker is essentially a thrust vector, so it would basically allow you to redirect the thrust from those engines to downward and almost a little backward. So it basically helps them do vertical landings if there's no room to land on like a runway or what have you.
I like it. Now let me ask you something, because in World of Warcraft, why am I echoing so bad? Can you guys hear me echo?
A little bit, not too bad.
All right, sorry about that. Like in World of Warcraft, you jump on the Zeppelin, or the ship that takes you to point A to point B. You get your characters milling about there, then it sails off and boom, cutscene, like, and then there you are to the next set. Are we going to want the same thing here if we're going to use jump ships, or is this just for story purposes, or what would the role be for jump ships in the game?
Well, I could see them as sort of a form of fast travel, or if we decide to do open world travel, maybe you get a whole group of people that piles onto these ships and it goes off somewhere.
You could even use the jump ships instead of caves to get to instances.
So,
I would
also,
like...
go ahead.
No, I like open world travel. When I played Guild Wars 2, that's what I hated the most. Just boom, and you go to... I didn't like that. I wanted like a mount to ride or something cool. With the option, I guess.
I mean, you could have NPC characters in certain situations drop in on a drop, come down from a drop ship, and so if something happens and they're called in the story of that quest, and they come down and they're fighting you and or whatever.
Or a PvP staging area. You go into your PvP arena and your game starts and the dropship lands and then you just charge out like hoorah.
Yeah, I was picturing this one as being something of a more or less a civilian version, but it'd be easy enough to adapt the design for military purposes as well, and have that as a, they swoop in, drop off the bad guys, and firefight begins kind of thing.
Let me ask you something. Do you guys know, or do you specifically know a gentleman by Edward Snowden? Is this where you got this from?
No, I do not.
All right, I'm just checking. Okay, I'm hearing security and I'm seeing some schematics of futuristic stuff. I'm just wondering.
I have a lot of time to draw when I'm at work.
All right, continue, please.
Okay. Well, that pretty much covers it as far as that particular vehicle is concerned. I had this in mind just as a really quick sketch for a basic projectile weapon that basically is the same sort of thing that we have now. So it'd be magazine in the handle, that sort of thing. And then,
Laser on the bottom.
yeah, basically, laser or light as needed.
I like the strobe. Have you ever faced a strobe light? It's not fun because you just cannot see anything. Just tick, 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 tick. It's worth its money. It's worth its weight in gold. If you anyway, it's another topic, but I like it. That's not me on the receiving end. Well done, sir. I'm proud of you.
Cool. Thank you. Ray, if you can click on the third energy pistol for a sec. Okay. Yeah, this one, in the same way that we have different calibers for handguns, I thought this one would basically be a heavier hitting energy weapon. So like the disc that you have over by the grip, I'm going to work on the visuals for it, but essentially I was thinking that could be some kind of capacitor that essentially overcharges the shot. So what you get out of the end is going to be more powerful than just a regular weapon.
I remember in the Star Trek role-playing game, if I remember correctly, because I'm old, but when you had a laser gun, and again this is tabletop versus real-time, but say you had 100 rounds in the magazine or 100% energy. Now you could take one shot at a time that would do 1 point of damage, like ping, 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 or you could do 2 shots, 50-50. You know, you're out of ammunition then. Or you could overcharge it and have 1 shot and your weapon's ruined. That might be kind of a cool idea for laser projectiles. That would make it interesting.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd stay away from the idea that it'd be ruined. It'd be a pretty useless weapon if it was that fragile.
Yeah, there are a few of them out there. Halo does that, where you can charge it for a few seconds and it'll use up like a 10-round equivalent.
I think you should be able to overload it like a phaser and throw it like a grenade.
Throw it, yeah.
Heck yeah. Set for overload. Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking maybe it could be a combination. Maybe it depends if we have different weapons manufacturers as far as what it uses for the charge mag. Like the other weapon up top, I kind of see that as sort of a smaller, physically smaller weapon, but they have the charge mag that just goes on a rail on the bottom. And then the bigger pistols and rifles and stuff like that could use something similar to what we have today as far as putting the magazine in the handle or up front or behind based on whether the rifle is a bullpup or more traditional design.
Or if you're going to go kind of the steampunk route, picture a guy holding a weapon like you have there, but a cord coming from the back, and the cord leads to his gauntlet that has several battery charges on it.
I was also thinking something like that where you could do like a revolver where it had like capacitors instead of like bullets in there, and it would like have a cord coming off the bottom of the revolver to like a backpack with a generator that would charge the capacitors.
Cool.
To 21 point kilowatts, whatever. I'm trying to do a reference that I can't do. Back to the Future, anybody? Someone help me out?
21 gigawatts.
Yeah.
Gigawatts.
1.21. 1.21 gigawatts.
Great Scott!
Einstein.
I like the ideas. I love all the stuff that we're coming up with, guys. Very, very cool.
So I was thinking, like, as far as that disc, whatever shape it's going to be, that could basically be an indicator for, you know, the heavier type weapon. Essentially, it'd be akin to like a 50 caliber handgun versus a 9mm.
How about where's the gases going to escape so you don't have as big kickback? Well, if it's going to be a laser, I guess you don't have to worry. I tried to shoot a 50 cal once with one hand. That was a dumb idea.
Do you still have your face?
It hit me in the head. I'm like, I can do this. No, I can't. I was an idiot. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. I was thinking there would probably be a vent somewhere to just get rid of excess heat, but it would probably be along the top, similar to the ejection port for a spent cartridge, just further forward so you're not burning your hand.
Hercules, Hercules, listen to him talk guns. I love it. Get me all tingly inside.
Time for a 3D Buzz disclaimer. Derek has a virus and is running a fever and is not entirely responsible for his actions.
It's true, I am running a virus. or running a virus. Crap, I am a little tired, running a fever, but I'm here because you guys made me all happy inside. Anyway, continue. I love the idea, again, because it's all about aesthetics, from my point of view, because I'm an artist, but it really marries the game mechanics if we can make something aesthetically pleasing that's also logical. So this weapon here, heavy caliber, has its own look and may do more points of damage per shot, as opposed to, like you said, the little girly 22 pistol up there, which
Yeah,
isn't
exactly.
a 22. But just make it pink and call it Shirley.
It's not going to be pink. It's not going to be
Yeah.
called Shirley.
Shirley, you just.
Shirley, you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Is that Naked Gun?
That's
Yes.
airplane, dude.
Airplane. Okay.
Yeah.
Leslie, what's his face is in both of them, so I got it.
Hospital doctor, what is it? It's a big building with patients, but that's not
That's not
important.
important right now.
I love seeing Mrs. June Cleaver say talking jive. That was funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Barbara Billingsley. Anyway, we're digressing. Do we have any more weapons we can show?
As far as weapons from me, not today. I'm going to work on some more line drawings for a rifle. I didn't have I basically had about a half hour before work to set these up because I didn't have a scanner until then. So now
No
that I
worries.
do, I'll scan the rest of them and I'll get those set up for next week.
I think the thing that I can say that I really hope that we can do is I really love this clean, beautiful phaser. I call it a phaser. I picture this more military, and then some of the dirty, grittier weapons like Steve made and some of my spot blacks with a Tesla coil. I'd like to have an option of a really steampunk version where, they're kind of backwoods, and this is what we're putting together. And then we have this sort of military version as well.
Well, one of the things I was working on for the human storyline was I was writing up the idea behind augments, which are like anybody that uses the implants and stuff like that. And I was thinking the visual aesthetic of the implants could be based on how much money you have to throw at it. So you could have an implant that, like a cybernetic arm or something that looks pretty much like what you would have normally, or you could have something that's more Borgified, for lack of a better term, if you can't really afford anything really fancy. And it could be the same sort of thing with the weapons too, that the projectile weapons and laser weapons, their look and how refined they are, it basically depends on how much you have to put toward it.
I like that idea. Well done. I'm very proud of you. I'm glad you're back too, dude. We missed you.
Oh, I'm glad to be back.
Steve didn't miss you, but I did.
That's not true.
Steve talked crap about you all the time, man. It really
He's a
broke my
fellow
heart.
3D Max, but I like that.
Keep in mind, I can kind of look at the other videos, and I have, so...
So he knows you're a giant liar, Pants.
Pants on fire. Mr. Nick, what do you have to show for us tonight, buddy?
I've got the comic book page I finished and a couple little silhouettes for guns I drew when I found out I was supposed to be doing that.
Surprise! Let's start out with the guns.
Exactly how I did it.
I'm sorry, I said guns. I need to do some push-ups. Let's start with weapons. Weapon renderings first, and then we'll go to the comic book pages. I'm very anxious to see what you got.
All right.
This is my weapon. This is my gun. This is for fighting. This is for... Never mind.
All right, who are we switching over to?
Mr. Nick,
Jizba, I think.
Yeah, just
let me ask you, what does that stand for? Do I really want to know?
his last name.
Really? What?
Yeah, had a guess, yeah.
Yep.
All right, then. I can't make fun of that. That's not cool of me to make fun of your last name.
It is, because it's a fun last name to make fun of. I was Big Jizz for all of high school and some of college, and yeah.
Yeah, you can kind of see that coming. So to speak.
No pun. We're quickly switching to the renderings of these fine weapons here.
So the top one, if you guys can see it, is, I don't know, I was bored, so I made like a taser-sized like a rifle-sized taser with scope for some reason. And
That would be kick butt cool. I'd hate to be hit with a taser that big.
Looks like the second one takes gas.
well, that was like my backpack-powered revolver pistol thing.
It's a proton gun.
Yep.
Ghostbusters.
Uh-oh.
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 Uh-oh. Okay.
My tablet's not liking this. That's okay. What else was there? The other two were just sort of gun shapes that I drew.
I like them because they're... I really love the backpack weapon. I mean, I really love that, where that cord comes down, because we didn't have a rendering like that that's thinking outside the box. The other weapons, they're weapon-esque, but they're nice and sleeker. To me, that means they're lighter weight, except for the big taser on top.
Yeah, that one's a little chunky.
I like that
I like it.
Like an electric shotgun.
All right. Yeah, I didn't really think about it. I just sort of drew them.
You know, that's the fun thing about doing spot blacks like that. You don't have to think a lot. You just throw down some stuff and then use your eraser tool for a couple of... It's a great way to get really quick ideas down for rendering. That's what Steve says.
Yeah, I hear that's what he says.
I know, right? You hate spot blacks. Him and his whole family hate him.
I don't hate. I just did a bunch of spot blacks.
Well,
That
it's your
almost sounds
daughter.
racist.
It
Hating spot
does.
blacks.
Kelsey hates them. Sydney doesn't
Tolerates.
love them.
I miss Eve. Eve is really good at them.
This is-
Woo!
There we go. There's the whole page.
Nice.
Nice.
Slap me upside the head and call me Shirley.
Yep, so the top one was just sort of be the distance of like the temple thing over the canyon, and then I tried to like tie it in visually so you'd look down and look at roughly the same sort of area inside the temple as you'd be seeing from outside of it, just so it ties together visually between the two.
I really am impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
Very nice environment work, man.
Yeah, no
No
kidding.
kidding. That's fracking awesome.
I wish we had an environment artist around here.
I know.
Yeah, that'd be,
Well, now
that'd be
we do.
nice.
Hey, both you guys are great, and what I really love about Steve isn't a line artist like this. Steve has a painterly style, which sells great for concept work. This, unfortunately, or fortunately, is a comic book where it's all line work. So now we can marry both skill sets when we do like screenshots or packages for like boxes that we're going to sell, because with games make $1 zillion. We can have a combination of both.
Yep.
Big J, awesome job.
Why, thank you.
So tell us about your workflow. What did you do, and how did you decide to do this?
Basically, let's see. I've got the little... So this was what I did before I realized I had the character costume wrong. So I've got like an actual sketch layer here.
It looks
So I
like
just sort of
Mega
doodled
Pro.
it out with... Yeah, it's Mega Pro. I was playing around a lot with the little perspective layer things.
It makes it... How'd you turn your grids on? Show me that real quick. Mega Pro.
I put them on its own layer, and you can actually drag the grids between layers. But to get to them, you just go to a layer and do ruler, and then create a perspective ruler.
Gotcha.
It just slaps it out as its own layer.
That's cool.
You can adjust the vanishing points in the horizon.
Yeah, and that's what this little box tool is over here, the object selection thing. So if I were to go to this layer, it would let me, maybe. It doesn't like to do it after you like save it out and reload it. Oh, there we go, there's one. But you can drag stuff around and mess with it.
And then you get to draw on top of the lines as well, which is awesome.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't want to use it. I've had to remake a couple of them because it doesn't want to use it after you save it out, load it back in. But it's easy enough to set up the perspective the same way it was before.
Well done. It's a very powerful tool.
That's very
And I
cool.
think Mr. Ray said $69, 69 some.
Yeah, it was like $70, $80, something like that. But it wasn't too
$80
bad.
by the time you cover the shipping or download fee or whatever they crack on.
It's
The digital backup is what mine was.
It's now available on at Amazon.com for a little bit less, $60-some.
And I recognize that stance there.
Oh yeah, I just pulled out one of the little model things and dumped it there.
And that's what's awesome about it. It's a good read. And you still have to know what an Lethean looks like and be familiar with anatomy and physiology and what her clothes look like to be able to pull this off. Work smart, not hard.
I don't like working hard, but I do like working smart.
All right, explain. Show me how you did that circle up there, your obelisk thing.
The
top panel.
The arena.
Yeah, thank you. I've got to play around with the rulers and stuff. Very limited. Like we're in all. It's pretty darn good harmony. That is so powerful.
Jeez, kind of makes it look easy.
So I just looked it up. Manga Studio 5 is available on Amazon.com for $64.
So I've been talking, but I might have been muted for a while.
Yeah, I think you were.
Okay. Yeah, so like I spent a lot of time trying to get the perspective tool right with that, just because my tablet isn't too sensitive. So when I wanted to draw a line through the middle of like the squares I drew for those little hexagon towers, it didn't like to draw it through the middle. So I spent like 10 minutes on each one trying to get the center line through to make the hexagons. It was irritating.
Still powerful, and I love your line weight variation, your quality that shows the depth and the ground around the arena. I'm anxious to see what Wolf can do with dropping color on it.
Yeah, I really do like this because the G pen makes that so easy.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Steve was like, I know you don't really like Photoshop much anymore, but we really need to do extra. I'm like, I don't mind Photoshop. It's just, I was applying for a job today. I'm like, so I'll do pencils and inks for you. And the illusion is I'm charging two different prices when in fact I'm just drawing with the G pen to start with, so it gives me the pen and ink all right there. You know what I'm saying? It's just a great feel.
Yeah.
I can't explain it to anybody who's not used it. It's going to Photoshop.
Showed you how to set that up in Photoshop.
It just wasn't the same.
It's not the same. It's like a calligraphy brush, and the G pen actually changes thickness based on pressure and the direction you're moving and stuff too.
You can do that in Photoshop too. But yeah,
but I don't have.
You have to
set it up. The brushes in Photoshop are a lot better for painting, though. I'll give Photoshop that much.
And that's what I do. I do a lot of, I'll draw in Manga Pro, like all the animation. God, I hate animation. Hate animation. All the stuff I've done today was in Manga Pro, then imported into Photoshop, and I drop my color there. So it definitely has its uses. Anyway, well done.
I'll say the only thing I'm not in love with is that the city back in the upper corner?
Yeah, I sort of slapped that in there. I was going to have to go back in and redo it.
Okay.
That's one heck of a leaning tower.
Yeah, I was going off.
I don't mind that, just that it's just 4 sticks.
Yeah, like I was going to have to do something for it, but I need... For some reason, the link to the, the Dropbox, like, it disappeared before I downloaded everything, so I just had to do it from memory without references, so it just sort of threw something back there as a placeholder.
And that's all still pretty open, so...
I like it. And plus, remember, we're going to have dialogue, a lot of dialogue, so we're going to have some empty spaces for that as well.
Yeah,
So send it...
This page
Go ahead,
doesn't
Mr. Ray.
have a caption, primarily. But yeah, I'm going to have some comments for Nick just on the geometry, because we're going to need places for 5 Mages to stand, and then we'll have to discuss whether or not is she going to go through a door in this central pillar, or because we had originally talked about her standing maybe in the center of the arena and then teleporting.
Oh, I was going to do like the arena, like you can't really see from the perspective, but that flight line across the middle is like a hexagon-shaped like platform that I was going to draw people on once I got, once I got selected. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, we just those couple little touches so that they're nice and obvious. And then, of course, the next page, the one that Derek is working on, I think. Right, Derek?
Yes, sir. And I'm sorry, I've been dealing with
That's okay.
stuff.
But the next page, then it's the same scene, only with a tight shot with her and her father. So this sort of sets this will set the architecture for the whole, anything that has to do with the arena.
Yeah, that's sort of why I left the walls and stuff blank, so I could look at the backgrounds of the other art and sort of draw the right kind of shapes into the background there too.
Well, you made me want to get my Manga Pro out and practice with the ruler tool. I mean, because Steve will tell you, I'm not a background artist. I mean, I can fudge my way through. I'm a character artist, and this is just a very powerful tool. And it shouldn't take long to learn. Mr. Ray showed me some tutorials. I just literally trying to have time to learn because I'm keeping my head above water by making art. It's difficult.
Nick, can you do me a favor? Throw your email into BuzzNet, and
Yeah.
we'll add you to the Dropbox.
Well done. So send that off to, once you get it done, send it off to Wolf Knightley so he can drop color on it, and then he'll send it off to Mr. Ray. He'll drop the letters on it. I'll have my pages, or my page done very shortly, and I think that brings us up to 7 or 8 pages in total. I think 8 pages once they're all complete. That's a nice chunk of it. It's
Yeah,
almost
this
a quarter
one,
of a book.
this one you're looking at right here is 7.
Okay, then mine will be 8.
You have 2, right? So it'd be 8 and 9.
Right, I haven't started on the 9 one yet, but yeah, I'll have 8, 9. So we almost have 10 pages of a book. That's almost a quarter of a book made by 3D Buzz students. That's awesome.
That is very cool.
I remember when we first started this project, I was really hopeful, I'm gonna hope this works out. And there has been some pitfalls, there has been ups and downs, and I wish we could have done it faster and quicker, but I'm confident that we'll get it done. And we keep getting more and more people. We've held steady in class tonight, not lost anybody. I'm really happy about that. And I want more and more people to get involved. So again, don't spam your social media, but definitely let people know what's up if they want to learn, because we got so much more coming to 3D Buzz very soon. And there's already there. We have several daily drops. We've got several more things planned. So help us make this dream big so we can get this project off the ground, and then we'll all be zillionaires. It can happen.
Again,
What?
that's a Buzz disclaimer.
A monkey's my
None of you
flower.
will actually become zillionaires.
Oh, no,
I said it could.
it's a zillion Derek dollars. That adds up to about a penny.
Ah, yes.
It's a zillion and one for a penny, because I can't really compete with actual currency, otherwise I go to jail.
Actually, that reminds me, we haven't had very many handouts for that lately.
You gotta earn it.
Yeah, Derek, how's 50 going to be? Jeez.
I'm working on it. My printing press is down. Government doesn't like you when you try to print real money out. They kind of frown on that, so I
Well, if
can't.
the printer's down, you could always go to Kinko's. I'm sure they wouldn't mind.
That would be so funny. I have these plates here. I need you to and here's my own paper. Can you just run this through the machine here? And that's another 3D Buzz disclaimer. Don't do that, okay? Don't do that. Mr. Wolf, can we show your stuff?
Yep.
Big J, well done, sir.
Well, thanks again.
I'm glad you're here. And I promise you your portfolio is going to grow by leaps and bounds.
What'd you say by leaps and bounds?
Big J's portfolio is going to grow by leaps and bounds.
Cool.
Yeah, I tend not to work if I don't have a deadline, so this helps a lot.
Good.
Okay, Nick, the invite's been sent.
So this is page 3. Finished.
Looking good.
Nice, yeah.
Man, I wish Eve get back in class. I know she's working, but I'll do 8 and 9, and she can do 10 and 11. We'll get Nick to do 13 and 14. If we can at least get to 15, I'll feel very comfortable. Anyway,
I've already dropped the words on this one, and I believe I gave you a link to it.
you did.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it's at record. Let me find it, and I will pull up my screen.
It's nice to finally have this one done because we had to skip it for a while. So now we're, after finishing 5, it's like, well, I finished 5, but 3's not there. But now it's just feels good to have a solid 5 done.
Exactly. Hold on. Poop. That's not it.
Steve, do you like the black?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I like it. It looks really good on this one.
All right, go ahead and take my screen real quick, and we'll have Wolf walk us through, and Mr. Ray with his sexy Tom Jones voice can read. And I do like the Black Wolf. It makes it stand out really well.
I now expect to hear Ray sing. It's not unusual.
It's not unusual for an Alethian to poop in the woods. They gotta go someplace. Mr. Ray, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
We're waiting for your sexy voice to read. You're our narrator. It's story time.
I thought everyone could read, but Bertha, may I hold that lovely young lady? He picks up Cynthia, puts her in the ring, asks the father, do you have the stones? And then as he places them before Cynthia, choose well, this will set your life's course, but we have our mysterious stranger looking on. And suddenly the mysterious stranger launches a strange glowing stone into the ring. Cynthia lurches toward it. And then on the next page, she bonds with it, much to the consternation of all concerned, and our mysterious stranger has disappeared.
Man, well done, guys. I know, Nick, you're new to this area, but we've really been working on these pages since almost the beginning of classes when we started, and to see something come together from Ray's story and all our concept art, because we've done tons of stuff for the Alethians, to hear right now, I'm going to poop myself when I start seeing more 3D models. I really am. And so be ready for that. I'll have to excuse myself. But I'm so excited about where we're going with all this.
Yeah, it's looking pretty cool.
Heck yeah. And we did it. Like I said, it's not my game, not Steve's, it's our game, everyone's game here. And the development team, Mr. Steve Curtis, I know I want Nick on it. Do we have anybody else that can work with Nick?
Well, I'm hoping that we will see Chris Morris show up. And Nitro wanted to be involved.
Can we make a post on 3D Buzz, say, making a development team for MMO, sign up here, sort of thing? Then have a deadline?
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, we can do
Yeah.
something.
Because
It's like the one thing we're going to have to do to get stuff.
Too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know off the top of my head there's 4 or 5 people, which is a pretty good chunk to getting a development team going. So.
we got to correlate a night, and we'll have to talk to Buzz with it when we can do this, maybe before the MMO class, the concept art MMO class starts, so the developers can kind of hang around, discuss what they did, and we can compare art notes if they wanted to. That'd be a great way to be cohesive and be kind of the same time frame where, it would be good for everybody.
Yeah, me and Nelson will work on that, because a lot of that's going to have to do with Nelson's schedule and his classes.
You got true on. We'll work on it.
I'm interested, but I don't know if I have the time. Maybe in a lesser capacity.
Well, I mean, like everything else here, it's you do what you can do, and
Yeah.
it's not like it's a paid job and you got to show up. So.
Hey,
Well, I'm definitely
Ray?
interested.
Ray, I've sent you one with the fix on this. Did you get that?
I believe I did, but I think it's already sent this one to Derek before I had gotten that. So I just have to switch them out.
Okay, cool.
Whatever it is, send it to Steve. He'll give it to Nelson. How many pages do we want, Mr. Steve Curtis, before we start putting him up on 3D Buzz?
I think the first 5 or 6 will be fine, as long as we know we got the other ones coming in the pipeline.
Okay. God, that's so much to do, but we'll get it done.
I think
Yeah,
so.
we'll get there.
Well done, guys. What are we going to do next week? What do we want to work on?
I'll work on some more line sketches and stuff like that for a couple of other weapons. See if I can get some more detail on that on the jump liner.
Okay. What I really am interested in, because I'm a character artist and I'm seeing all the Aletheans and bringing back all the I guess memories that we've done, and we've touched on it lightly about classes, but I really like for us to come up with a game plan, especially now that we really do have a developer with us. Nick is going to do that, so I like some ideas of classes and how we can make them special. I like the idea of, so you're a rogue, but you can still use this, this, and this. It's a nice basing or a jumping point to start from. But I think we need some sort of role that people can be familiar with.
Before we get out of here, Miguel's got something.
Miguel's here. I didn't know that. I can't see the name list. Miguel, how you doing, baby? Hola!
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Man, you need to jump in sooner. I didn't know you were here, dude. I can't see the names.
Yeah, I've been here for quite a while.
Well, I'm glad you're here. How the heck you doing, man?
Very well.
Well,
So-
let's jump to Miguel's screen, Mr. Nelson. By the way, thanks for shipping that tequila across the border for me. I really appreciate it. It's really good. He's like, "Okay."
What? I couldn't hear that.
You probably don't
Sorry.
need to. That's all right.
Well, I was working on the water mage that Ray told me to do. So here it is.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Oh,
Snap.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't know what you think.
Well,
That is
Great job.
awesome.
Your
Yeah.
water mage and your grand mage.
So,
Miguel?
well,
oh my God,
What?
Miguel. If I had hair, I'd pull it out. If I could just have people see you like 3 weeks ago compared to what you're doing now. Because all you got was some new tools. You had that talent, and you're utilizing it. It's freaking awesome. I loved her bracers in her legs and her boot-looking things, her straps, her pose, her hair, the break in her hair. Brilliant job, man.
can you still see my screen because
It's
it
all
went all
black.
black?
No, it's all black now.
It's a big spot black.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know what happens with this webinar, but
Did we ever
oh,
get
it's
the...
Photoshop's freaking out. It does it on mine too. You've overstepped your memory.
Miguel,
so,
Miguel, are you part of the Dropbox group? If not, Nitro can, I think he can set you up, or Steve, someone.
I certainly can. Yeah, Miguel, throw your email into BuzzNet, and I'll set you up on the Dropbox.
And then you can drop both this one and the one you showed us last week for the Grand Mage into the Dropbox so everyone can get their hands on it.
Dude, this is really pretty stuff, man. Really impressed. I'm going to tell you what, guys. Tonight, or today, I had a crap day. There's so much drawing and this and that, and I'm still not feeling well. I got a fever, and I was honestly like, man, I hope this class goes well. I don't feel good, but I'm glad that I'm here. The ideas that you guys had, and this right here, Miguel, I love the water that she's in. You made my night.
I was playing with the colors during class. So yeah, it's still missing some highlights and a little shadows, but this is just the diffuse color, so to speak.
Well done.
See what it is first.
Very well
So I
done,
guess once
Miguel. I cannot believe how fast your skills are growing. Nice job, man.
I know, it's insane.
I hate how hard I have to work at things.
I know. I'm getting there too. I mean, I'm the instructor. I mean, I'm still growing as an artist, but not nearly as fast as Miguel, man. In another week or so, he's going to have his own contract with freaking Marvel.
Hopefully. I really wish that could happen.
Hey, remember, be careful what you wish for. It could happen, and I hope it does if that's what you want. You're putting in the time, and a lot of people, like Steve and I both, we're being pulled in a ton of different directions. We're still learning. Steve is really focusing on the CryEngine. But what's so awesome about Miguel right now, he's also focused on learning. And the only way to do this is to do it over and over and over again, and that's how you get better. So I don't know what you do in your normal everyday life, Miguel, but I can assume that you put a lot of time in this, and it's really showing.
Yes, it takes me quite a long to do this. I'm not that fast.
Speed comes with repetition. You're doing great.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm looking forward though to when we get to the modeling part. I think I would like that.
And the thing about modeling, once you learn the tool set, I think because you can draw right now and you're understanding form, you're going to be able to connect vertices and snap them together and weld and meld and extrude. All it is a tool, but because you can visualize the way things look, it's going to speed up your workflow immensely. A lot of people ask, well, do I need to know how to draw to do 3D modeling? And the answer is no, but it sure does help, especially if you're going to be a character modeler. You might want to know what the anatomy of a human looks like before you're modeling in 3D.
And that's exactly why I joined your class. I was modeling, in fact, before I even started trying to draw. But I believe that if I could do something good in 2D, like a drawing, I could improve.
She's beautiful, man. Beautiful. Mr. Ray, what do you think?
I think we've got our character, and the one you showed us last week for the Grand Mage, and you were doing the Air Mage.
And you get the drop
the
marks.
Fire Mage, he's the guy who's taking care of Sincha. So all we need is the Earth guy, who's sort of hulkish. Yeah, this is the Grand Mage.
Yeah, I don't like the colors I put them. I just testing.
Well, I'm just talking about the shape and the look.
I like the shape and the look. The colors wouldn't be bad for the Earth Mage.
Right.
But this is the one. This is number 5. This is the one that is over the other 4. And this is our evil person who's going to try to steal Cincha's powers and kill her.
I love the headdress. Really love the headdress. Well done, Miguel. I'm really proud of you. All right, so next week, bring some ideas for some classes. I have my note right here to do the rock guy. I will get the rock guy done. I encourage everyone to draw 1 or 2 class ideas, and we're going to talk about who they are, what makes them unique and special, and then talk some game mechanic ideas with Mr. Big J. Is that good with everybody? Anybody have suggestions?
Works for me.
Yep, I'm good. I'm good with that.
Roger that. Guys, and gals, very happy that everyone's here. Again, use your social media, let the word out that we're building something big and great. Once the comic book pages, at least 5 are completely done, we'll get them up on 3D Buzz. I really believe that's going to generate a lot of, no pun intended, generate a lot of buzz of what we're going on. I know there's a lot of different sites out there that will help you do X, Y, and Z, but none that I know is trying to do something this ambitious. So it's exciting to be part of something from the ground level up. And everybody here is pretty much ground level up. It's going to be ours. So roundtable discussion, last thoughts. Mr. Ray.
I'm very happy with the way things are going. I'm going to be spending the week trying to sort out exactly where we are on the pages and what should be on each one. I think we're still just a little bit confused on that, but we're real close.
Roger that. Mr. Nick.
Yeah, what's up?
Roundtable, last thoughts.
I'll try to get a concept document and set out some things we need to start getting done for the MMO, like what we could start doing in 3D just early on and stuff like that this week.
Roger that. And we'll have to think about polygon count and all that and blah, blah. We'll talk about that next week as well.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's kind of going to depend on how many people we're going to have and allowed to be in the same place at the same time, kind of thing too.
So you're
Plus,
saying
there's
our
other stuff you can
Letheans
do
are
that-
going to look like eggs?
Yep, you can only have 3 polygons, so you can have a triangle, and that's about it.
Be a pyramid with the bottom one deleted.
Exactly.
True optimization. All right, Mr. Wolf, you got anything to say, my friend?
Yeah, I'm gonna try again to get some time to do my interpretation of the air mage guy.
Okay.
All right.
Roger that. I look forward to seeing what you're doing. You two are growing by leaps and bounds. Is Clinton here?
I haven't seen anything.
No.
Okay. Mr. Miguel, you got any last thoughts?
Well, not really. I just put my email on Busnet.
Yeah,
Okay,
I've sent the invite out to you, Miguel.
Okay. So the assignment for next week, could you repeat that?
Well, we're counting on you to finish the entire thing.
It will take quite a while, I think.
Well, you better start working now. Time's a-ticking. No, the idea, I want to revisit the ideas of class and roles, what the humans will bring. Instead of just a soldier, I want some more ideas, some more playable character roles and races, and some different looks. They don't have to be complete, quick sketches, spot blacks, whatever you want, but kind of a jumping off point. As far as that's concerned, I mean, we've talked about different classes and roles the Letheans will have, but we don't have a set look. We have ideas what they're going to look like and what they're going to do. That's something else we can explore once we find more about poly count and X, Y, and Z. So come up with some classes and some drawings for next week.
Okay.
Pretty
And
please.
mind you, it doesn't have to be class-based if you have a different idea.
Right.
I kind of like the idea that maybe we start off as a given class, but again, where you go from there is up to you. So if you wanted to do some kind of hybrid, maybe have it possible so that you could. Just because from my point of view, when you get to the end game and every single warrior is capable of doing the same thing, it's...
Boring. And you're not unique
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of like skill trees or some 3 or 4 different skill trees, and you can build whatever you want on all 4 of them.
Yeah, well, if it's all based on a class, though, you're still kind of limited at that point.
No, I
But-
mean no classes, just an option of different trees with different
So
skill
it's
sets.
Oh,
a
heck
bit like
yeah.
World of Warcraft where you pick talent trees, but you can pick any 3 talent trees you want and get the according abilities.
Sounds like a plan. Who else am I forgetting? We haven't asked. Besides
Me.
Mr. Steve. Any last thoughts, sir?
No. I love the artwork so far, and like I said, I'm gonna keep working on some different weapons concepts and stuff like that for the humans, and maybe see if I can work up a military variant of the jump liner to act as like a drop ship or something like that.
I like to see it. I really love your orthographic view that you did. That was really good. Be really great for modeling.
Yeah, I tend to do everything that way, and then I let the final model more or less take shape as I'm modeling it, rather than having all of the details in the orthographic views.
I agree, because when I do that, Steve calls it grimbling or gumbling or something stupid like that.
Greebling?
Yeah, I'm going to remember that. I'm going to remember that one of these days, yeah.
No, not even once. I messed
Probably
it up so
not.
many times just watching these videos.
Stop that. Stop that.
I say we all just call it gremlin, so you can
Yeah,
be
gremlin.
correct.
Yeah, put
Gremlin,
gremlins on
why
those
not?
wings.
I say
Don't-
I say if he gets it wrong again, we just call him Eric Greebles.
I hate it, but I love it. All right, with that, I guess my last thoughts. I hate everyone here. I love you all and respect you all. And I'm going to miss Mr. Nelson when he's going to his convention. I will be down to the Buzz Cave this coming Friday and to work on some stuff. You guys, it's a pleasure, it's an honor and a blessing to be with everybody. I'm proud of everyone here, even you, Mr. Steve.
Gee, thanks.
I've got a question before you guys go. So the city for the Alethians isn't like set in stone, so I can do whatever I want in the background there?
Yeah, pretty much. Just bear in mind that some kind of reference to some kind of human architecture isn't a terrible idea, but it doesn't have to be there. The biggest concept is that they essentially use their connection with these stones to grow their architecture.
Okay.
There are some kind of conventional houses that are shown on page 2.
Okay. Well, I'll look through those if they're in that Dropbox then, because I was going to go through that to make sure everything fit.
Are all the pages in there?
Thank you.
I think at least, I think so.
Well, I don't think I've ever visited it, so somebody should check on that.
There's some designs. I think we have more than one Dropbox going.
What?
Yeah, I think we do. Maybe we should probably take a look at consolidating all of that, deciding which one's going to be the active Dropbox.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because the one Richard set up that has all the other folders has the comics, but they're the ones that the coloring's not done on, and I'm in somebody else's Dropbox through my email that does have all the colored ones. So we've got two of them going somewhere.
All right, who wants to volunteer to clean that up so we make sure we get it done? Not it.
Well, I would, but I don't have both Dropboxes.
Oh, and somebody just added the other one to this one. Just popped up on my thing.
That was me.
Oh, good job, Ray. Ray
Thanks,
just
sir.
consolidated everything.
Yay, Mr. Ray! You were
So
trying
yeah, we just got to make sure he's got the link, that he's linked to this Dropbox.
Okay, yeah, I've got the one where the pages just got added, so...
Yeah, and I just have to make sure that these are completely up to date. I did get from Wolf at the very last minute a couple of very minor changes on the artwork for page 1 and page 3. So first thing in the morning I will replace those in the Dropbox with the absolute final art. That way we should have the splash page and the first 4 story pages all there.
All right, awesome.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, by next week, I'll have my page finished as well. So hopefully by next Tuesday at the latest, I'll have that to you, Mr. Wolf and Mr. Ray, to look at.
Cool.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Guys and gals, thank you very much for being a part of 3D Buzz. Remember to visit our stores. We have tons of stuff on sale all the time. Remember to Facebook your friends, tell them to come here and be my friend because I'm lonely. So with that said, keep your feet on the ground, your ankles slightly above them. Mr. 50 Shades of Nelson, take us home, baby.